Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, we will start the session now. Dr. Jagdish Seni is present right now. I have yes. So let's start the session. Today's session. Dr. Jagriti Seni will give the session on AI and blockchain. Let's start the introduction first. Dr. Jagriti Seni is the founder and owner of Eternal Rest, a startup MSME working in the direction of overall student growth and welfare at multiple levels. The core idea of the firm is to provide a relevant guidance and training to the student on data science, machine learning, IoT concept, along with adequate research practices, research paper creations, integrations of digital training, learning tools, quality education, soft skills, behavior educations, and so on. So Jagriti Seni holds diploma in electronics and communication engineering in 2010 from GPW Kandahar and completed BTech in electronics and communication engineering in 2013 from HPU. She received a master degree in electronics and communication engineering from the NITTR Chandigarh, Punjab University, India in 2017. She was awarded a gold medal for securing the highest prestigious in the entire university during the master degree. Jagriti completed her PhD from NITTR Chandigarh in 2022 with Punjab University. She received Inspire Fellowship from the Department of Science and Graduate Certificate Program on Data Science and Business Analytics from Purdue University, USA, in collaborations with IBM and Simplilearn in 2023. Her current research interests include data science, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, environmental monitoring, indoor air quality monitoring and predictions, healthcare systems, e-health, and so on. She has recently completed one funded research project, that is IoT-based smart power quality analyzers, as an industry collaborator, and is working on another project under International Research Collaborations Fund in association with the University Malaysia Parleys CBIT Hyderabad. Dr. Saini is also recognized as a distinguished masters members of Boards of Studies, BOS, School of Engineering, Department of Electronics and Communication, Chandigarh University. So this is a brief introduction about Jagati Saini. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. I hope my screen is visible, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Visible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So, good evening, everyone. We are here on an important topic, that is AI and blockchain, idea to revolutionize smart contracts and decentralized applications. All of you might be already aware that blockchain and AI both are some of the most popular technologies these days that allow us to create wonders in almost every industrial sector or business sector. Few years ago, blockchain was considered just for the cryptocurrency applications. But at present, as people are exploring its potential, they are learning how it can be utilized in other areas also. So now you will find blockchain applications in almost every areas wherever enhanced security is one main concern, wherever people are not ready to compromise their privacy or their relevant personal information with any kind of centralized system, they go ahead with decentralized versions of software that is with the help of blockchain. So in today's discussion, we'll be talking about how blockchain works, how smart contracts works, little bit of introduction about that, and then how we can integrate AI into this system. That discussion will follow on. And after completing this theoretical discussion, I'll move on to the Python implementation, where we'll try to design a simulation of blockchain for decentralized cloud funding application. So that will be just a basic demonstration of how blockchain works, because we have limited time in the session. So developing entire AI application will not be feasible. But yes, I'll show you how simulation of blockchain we can do in Python environment. And then I'll also discuss about how further AI can be incorporated in the process to enhance the outcomes or to change the process in your decentralized applications. So let us proceed with, initially, first let us introduce the concept here. We are talking about the technological changes that we are experiencing these days, where blockchain and AI are redefining the ways how we used to interact with technology and each other over the years. Although human to machine interaction started several years back, there are decades already passed when people started interacting with different types of machines. And researchers over the years have found various types of user interfaces that make it easy to communicate with the softwares loaded on the machines, and we can interact to measure different type of parameters even from the surrounding environments using IoT, etc. So in every dimension, technology is making some changes. But when we specifically talk about this AI and blockchain, they are showing us some safe solutions, or some solutions where privacy can be main concern to lead any kind of human to machine interaction. The main objective of the discussion that we are going to proceed with is to explore how AI and blockchain together can improve smart contracts and decentralized applications. We'll discuss about what they are and how they work. If anyone is like complete beginner with the blockchain or smart contract, that also we'll discuss further. The idea here is to check the potential of integration of these two technologies to automate things, to improve trust on technology, as well as interactions between human and machine, while leading new innovations. So that is the core objective of this particular analysis or discussion that we are going to proceed with. And if anyone from like CSC background, IT background, or even from any other background is planning to conduct certain kind of research case study or project based analysis, you will find several ideas in today's discussion on that also. So moving further, let us first understand blockchain and smart contracts, especially for those who are completely beginners with it. Although I'll not go in very in-depth details considering the time limitation that we have, but still I'll just give you some quick ideas about how it works. Starting with the fundamentals of blockchain first. Blockchain is widely recognized as a decentralized digital ledger. The main idea behind this is to store records across a range of computers or a big network of computers that is spread across the world. And we have to ensure that all the communications or all the transactions between those computers or those networks are completely transparent, immutable, and they cannot be tampered by any human being. So we need to keep these things in mind while we talk about blockchain applications. We ensure that everything is transparent on the system, which makes it more relevant to current generations. Because if we go with the traditional systems, we have centralized mechanisms. And in those centralized mechanisms, the preference is that there is some person who is controlling things. Like the government is controlling how currencies will be rolled into the country and how they will be utilized further. RBI is controlling the banking operation. So there is a centralized system for everything. But then, with the help of technology, we are switching further to a new design where decentralized word is getting more popular. And this goes with a digital ledger. So instead of creating maybe some files on or the hard copies of the transactions that are happening over the network, we are creating a digital ledger that is decentralized, means it cannot be controlled by a person or a specific organization. Rather, it is distributed system which is transparent to all the participants who are associated with that network. And the point, immutable, this makes a very important sense over here. In comparison to the centralized systems that we have, where certain organizations have control over things, it is possible to mute things, or things become mutable automatically. Like certain files may be misplaced, certain documents may be misplaced, or sometimes things may be edited for the benefit or credit of someone. So all those things are not possible in case of blockchain, because this makes things uneditable. No one can change anything once entered into the blockchain. And similarly, this immutable process makes it free from any kind of tampering. Because as no one has access to change anything in the existing blocks within blockchain network, so it becomes free of tampering, and people can have more trust on such kind of system, because it is not under the influence of a person or an organization. Everything is being recorded in a very precise and a very transparent manner. Moving further, whatever entries we are making into this blockchain system, that is named as a block in this. It is basically a block of data. And when these blocks are connected together in a chronological order, that represents a chain. That is how the name comes as a blockchain. This is basically chain of so many blocks of data. And that data can be anything relevant to certain application. Like traditionally, when it started, it was only preferred for the cryptocurrency transactions. So at that time, the transactions made on the cryptocurrency network, some funds transferred by one user to other, or any kind of maybe Bitcoin or any other coin purchased or sold by anyone, all kind of those transactions become a part of this entire blockchain process. So they contain some blocks that has data about those transactions, and they are linked together in a transparent and immutable manner to form a chain. So that is the crux of your blockchain. Some of the popular platforms that you might have heard about associated to blockchain concept includes Ethereum, one of the most popular platform. Then Hyperledger is there for various enterprise applications, and Solana is also there for high-speed transactions. So these are some of the popular names you will hear in terms of blockchain applications or specific platforms that are being utilized by users over the years. Moving forward, with this blockchain application, or whenever we design these decentralized ledgers, they are mainly distributed databases, and these computer nodes are spread across the world. There are several places where people are mining their blocks, or they are setting up their transactions, and they are being added to this decentralized network. So we never know from which place things are being calculated and how they are being added into the blockchain, because this is a widespread network across the world. Although blockchains, as I told you, is already playing a crucial role in cryptocurrency systems to manage a secure and decentralized record of transactions, but the uses are not limited, as I discussed. It can be taken further to plenty of different applications wherever trust is the main point of concern, and we need a program that can comply for the user requirements without breaking the trust between the transactions happening over the network. So it requires, whenever we need an application where multiple parties are involved, or maybe multiple people are involved, and some secure data is to be processed without requiring interference from a certain person included in that entire collaboration, then these blockchain applications may come into role play. And also, when we talk about one other concept, that is IoT concept, you might have heard, Internet of Things concept, there also blockchain is being widely used to manage security or privacy while sharing data from the field applications to the cloud platform. So there also this blockchain is playing an important role while collecting data from maybe smart villages, smart cities, or smart buildings, smart hospitals, from everywhere. Whenever we are gathering data using a IoT system, generally the main concern is to manage privacy of the end users. And this blockchain system further can be introduced into the IoT mechanism to enhance that level of privacy, because it doesn't allow anyone to alter anything from the system or get access to the personal information from the network. The working of blockchain in simple terms can be explained as, you will find it like a program where multiple scripts are used, and the main task is to enter as well as access information, store it, and save it at some network that is not accessible by any individual. And since this is a distributed system, there are always multiple copies of anything, whatever transaction, whatever data we are trying to save, there will always be multiple copies of it. So presence of these multiple copies makes sure that whenever we are verifying certain transaction, the validity level is enhanced because it is verified from multiple machines instead of getting verification from a human being at one end. So this adds to more trust in the system because validity is enhanced for every block of data. In this blockchain system, the information collected is stored in a block of certain memory size. Like most commonly, it can be a file of 4 MB. However, depending upon the application for which blockchain is designed, the size of blocks may be different. Just one example we are showing here, like for certain transaction, maybe a 4 MB file will be stored somewhere, and then it will be used for keeping a record of that information or transaction that happened between a number of people or maybe between two people on the network. When a block is full, like when that 4 MB block is full with all the data, it is processed through a cryptographic hash function that is designed within the blockchain network, which helps to create a hexadecimal number known as block header hash. So there are the concept of cryptographic hash function involved in creating blockchain application. These hash values basically help us to store things secure with higher security and in a encrypted version, so that whenever that information is required for any further access in future, that can be dispersed with enhanced privacy to on the network. This hash is further entered into the block header and encrypted with a specific program that is already available in the blockchain mechanism, and it creates a chain of block that ultimately becomes your blockchain technology. So this is just a quick overview of how this blockchain process happens. For instance, whenever a new transaction is entered, it is transmitted to a network of peer-to-peer computers that are scattered across the world. So that transaction flows through these computers, and then this network of computers try to solve an equation to confirm the validity of transaction. That is the maths behind the algorithm, how it works. So depending upon how the blockchain is designed, there will be a equation that it has to solve to ensure validity of the transaction. And once that is confirmed, there will be that it is a legitimate transaction and can be permitted on the specific blockchain considering its type of design, then it can be clustered into a set of blocks. Once these blocks are formed, they are chained into a long history of transactions and they are made permanent, and with this the transaction is considered complete and it is stored within the network. And in future, anytime if someone has to refer to any previous transaction, they can refer to it and accordingly further updates can be made. Key features of blockchain technology, few of these I have already discussed. Transparency, because every transaction is verifiable and visible by all the participants over the network, so that enhance the transparency on the system and of course the trust level of the participants as well. Also, the transactions are immutable, so if someone has made certain transaction, once the data is recorded about it, that data cannot be altered. That is just fixed on the block in a blockchain network. It provides enhanced security because, as I told you, there are some encryption techniques and cryptographic hash algorithms used behind that helps you to secure all the transactions on the network. And the best part is it is decentralized system. There is no central authority and controls are distributed across the participants over the network. So there may be billions of end users connected on the same blockchain and they are all holding equal control on the network instead of a central authority. And it offers a consensus mechanism that ensures agreement among all the nodes, and technically we call it a proof of work or proof of stake. So this proof of work is used to validate different transactions or blocks within your blockchain network. Coming to the fundamentals of smart contracts further, these are some digital contracts that are stored on the blockchain network and they are automatically executed whenever certain set of conditions are met by the program. So contract term we already understand. This is just the basic term that we use to set up contracts for maybe some business agreements, or there can be contracts between two organizations, contracts between supplier, vendors, etc. So these can be different kind of contract terminologies. But instead of creating a contract on using pen and paper, or by using a simple Microsoft Word document or PDF file, what we are doing here is we are creating smart contracts by utilizing some programs, some scripts that are running behind on a blockchain network. So these smart contracts do not require, like, it doesn't require keeping your files safe somewhere in your lockers, or ensuring that people who are involved in these contract, they are signing different documents. That kind of process can be eliminated because it doesn't require anything to be done manually. Instead, in case of smart contracts, things can be automated. All the executions relevant to that agreement can be automated, and the participants can be certain about the outcome that can have that is associated to that particular contract. Like maybe a contract set up for certain crowdfunding project. So if maybe 3-4 parties are connected on the same project and they are raising crowdfunding from for certain application, so there is no single authority who is managing the funds that are being raised during that crowdfunding campaign. Rather, they are being saved on a blockchain network, and when the crowdfunding target will be met, then only it will be released, and that too to the specific account that is initially entered into the blockchain system. So no one can alter that manually in between once the contract is finalized. It is possible to automate the entire workflow with the help of these smart contracts, and the conditions can be determined in advance, and as soon as those conditions are met, accordingly the workflow execution can be maintained further. These smart contracts are digital versions of contracts that are stored on the blockchain network, and they are executed based on the conditional statements only. And they can help us to automate the entire time mechanism, involvement of different parties, as well as it can ensure that the conditions that are defined by all the parties involved in that contract are followed throughout the process. So it will have the programming script running behind it to meet all those conditions time to time. For instance, when setting up a smart contract, there may be some simple if, when, and then statements in the programming language. There may be some if, then statements associated behind. And the idea is that this code keep on checking all the determined conditions, and based on that, it will and assure that all the funds or all the transactions or all the data entries are being managed behind. It could be like different kind of actions, like maybe registering a certain vehicle or sending notifications or issuing a ticket based on certain conditions met. Like maybe in certain warehouse, certain smart contracts are set, how the customers will be dealt with without tampering their private information during the transactions that they are making on the store. Or maybe like when we have some vehicle registrations going on, so instead of doing that manually, we can have contracts where all the information about the person who is purchasing a vehicle is being stored, and automatically a contract or invoice is being generated along with all relevant information associated to the registration of the vehicle. So all those things can be automated by using these systems instead of requiring manual update on that. The simple working of smart contracts includes first we need to identify the agreement, and then the conditions are to be set for the specific goals that are to be met by the contracts. We need to update a computer program based on all the conditions and agreement between different parties. That could be like maybe persons involved or organization involved. So whatever conditions they have set, whatever agreement they have designed at initial level, accordingly the code logic will be prepared. Then everything is encrypted and it is stored on the blockchain technology. After this, the execution and processing happens, and every time the network is updated like a ledger regarding everything that is happening in association to that particular contract. So in this entire process, while we identify the agreement, we need to assure that all the parties that are involved in this process have listed their criterias, their conditions, everything they have listed in advance, because based on that only the program will be set. So once the agreements are set between the organizations or for certain business processes or assets, etc., based on that only there will be different if then or other conditional statements incorporated into the system. That could be some conditions like some financial market indices or maybe some GPS location events, etc. Anything could be incorporated into the system. So based on that threshold, some triggers will be generated into the system. Then there will be code business logic, the next step as we discussed in the flowchart also. So this will require a certain program to be written by the expert that includes or incorporates all the practical conditions set by the parties involved. After this, the encryption process goes with the hash technique that we have already discussed, like cryptographic hash technique will be involved behind. And then execution will happen for the same. And because there are like no involvement of any manual uh, efforts, rather it requires everything to be done on the network that is being managed on multiple computers. So authentication, verification, everything will be done by the network itself. So whenever any transaction is happening, that authentication and verification will be done by the network based on the conditions that are already set within the program. And ultimately the network will be updated time after time. When we say network updates, it doesn't mean that the existing blocks will be changed. The existing blocks will stay as it is, but new blocks to the chain will be added accordingly whenever something is done on the network. If certain editing is done, even for that also a block is generated, so that the secure information about any kind of editing is also saved over there and it can be accessed by all the parties. So in this way, it becomes a authenticated solution for everyone. There are plenty of benefits of using smart contracts for various applications, not just for the cryptocurrency applications, but otherwise for different business applications also. The first thing we have in mind is like speed, efficiency, and accuracy of these systems. Because as soon as the conditions pre-decided by all the parties are met, the contracts are executed immediately. Because these are digital contracts, they are automated, we need not to rely on any kind of paperwork in the process. So there is no need to spend so much of time on talking about errors, mistakes, or any manual processes. Rather, everything is done automatically. So maybe if certain set of funds are collected based on the smart contract, and the distribution of those funds is to be done, and with the initial agreement it is set that certain party will receive 50%, certain party will receive 30%, and other will receive 20%. So accordingly that disburse will be done. There will be no manual discussions again on the point. So it ensures trust and transparency also, because there are no third party involvements. We need not to question anyone, because everything is being done automatically on the system. It also enhances security, because the records in the blockchain are encrypted all the time, so hackers cannot damage those transactions or the data involved in those distributed ledgers. And it always stays in the chain like a set of records that are not possible to alter by anyone. And it also helps us to save in terms of time as well as cost, because just a program is to be set and we need not to hire additional people who can manage the contract terms or maybe any kind of paperwork, etc. So all those things can be eliminated. Time and money, both things we can save with the help of these smart contracts. So this was just an overview of blockchain and smart contract that all of you may need. And now we'll move further with how we can integrate AI into this blockchain and smart contract concept. So for this, let us first understand what are the strengths of AI that we can utilize for the blockchain technology further. In the previous sessions also, you might have discussed a little bit about AI technology. You might have gone through some basics of AI also. So here I'm just highlighting few strengths of the technology. The very first thing, data analysis, because AI is capable enough to handle massive amount of data that is being generated from different sources these days. Whether we talk about IoT sensor networks or online sources of data being gathered from the social media platforms, there is always a massive amount of information being generated every day, or even every single minute. Huge amount of information is being generated. And AI algorithms are capable enough to handle that huge amount of data, identify relevant patterns out of this, and then make predictions that could be useful in certain decision making at later stage. There is one important branch of AI, we call it natural language processing. It helps us to further understand and create smart contract terms. So we can even incorporate NLP to ease the process of smart contract terms, because otherwise everything has to be done with the program concept. But with the help of NLP, even the simple language that the parties have established during their agreement or whatever discussions they have made, all those things can be documented with the help of this NLP into the smart contracts easily. Furthermore, it assures enhanced decision making, because AI based systems can analyze various variables that are relevant to optimization of contract execution. I request you all to indicate your self if there are any queries. Thank you very much. And further, it has predictive capabilities also, and that further assist in decision making as well. In order to improve smart contracts with AI, the first thing we can have is dynamic smart contracts. Because with the help of AI, it is possible to adapt contracts based on real time data as well. Like if certain conditions are set in the contract that things will change if, like, maybe certain environmental factors affect these variables, so even those things can be incorporated into smart contracts. Earlier, when we have these traditional version of smart contracts that are working on blockchain from past few years, they are like you have set a program with predefined conditions and then you cannot alter it, like you have set up everything precisely. But if there are some dynamic behaviors to be incorporated into the system, that is possible with the help of AI. We can add some algorithms in between. They can measure the real-time environmental data or maybe market trends for the financial analysis, and based on that, maybe certain contract terms can be updated. Like just taking a very simple example, maybe some investment is made on certain property, or maybe in financial market certain investment is made by 2-3 people together. So maybe initially they have agreed on a term that on the successful execution of this investment, we will get this much share out of that investment. But if the market conditions are more favorable, or maybe like the stock market goes above this point, then of course the profit share can be improved for the parties over there. So accordingly, the conditions can be added. Like there may be one advisor, there may be one investor, there may be one manager, so there may be different people involved. So who will get more profit in that case if certain market threshold is met in the real time conditions, that could be updated dynamically into the smart contracts in this case. And this is a very relevant application, because it can help us to adjust premiums dynamically without requiring any manual observation in between or intervention in between. The same can go with the weather related contracts also, like certain kind of insurance contracts we have to adjust based on the weather changes. So all those things we can update accordingly. For real-time decision making also, this can be useful because AI helps us to integrate different types of sensors and IoT devices for seamless data-driven decisions. For instance, like the insurance contracts we are talking about for the maybe vehicle insurance or something like that. Maybe we have created smart contract for insurance instead of the paperwork. So, what can be done in that case for the safety of both parties? Maybe some additional IoT sensors, etc., can be incorporated into the vehicle that can measure health of the vehicle on the go. And if something wrong happens on the road, those sensors can provide more information to take better decision on whether the claim is permissible or not. Similarly, it can be used for error detection and optimization also. Like there are different types of AI tools that can be integrated into the system to check any kind of vulnerabilities in the system, or it can even suggest improvements ahead of time. So this could improve your entire blockchain scripting process as well. In order to improve decentralized applications with AI, there are again different options that we can consider. First thing is user personalization, because AI helps us to customize user experiences in decentralized finance or in gaming as well as in marketplaces. So that thing we can update. Initially, it is totally a decentralized platform. So it is not going to take a specific behaviors of the individuals because this is a decentralized system. But still, by using AI into the system, somehow even user experiences can be incorporated into the decentralized system, so that certain enhancement based on that we can make in the outcomes as well. It can be used for fraud detection also in decentralized apps, like if certain anomalies we have to detect, maybe certain crowdfunding applications we are taking, and some people are making like a very big donation every time. So maybe if it is not from genuine resources, that fraudulent activity also we can track. Otherwise, it will be stored as a um, unique identity within your blockchain network. But AI side by side can track if certain transactions are looking suspicious on the network, so it can generate some triggers for that. Similarly, performance optimization we can consider with decentralized application to reduce any kind of transaction delays or even the cost of resources that are being utilized for the application. It can lead with the smart automation as well for the decision making by utilizing some advanced integration of AI and IoT tools. Coming to the next point with the real world applications and case studies, just a brief idea I'll give here. First is in the healthcare sector, one of the most popular application you can consider. We can create decentralized patient records by utilizing blockchain, because managing patient data while leading some research applications is the biggest challenge for hospitals these days. Many of you might have tried to get data from hospitals to conduct a real time data analysis on patient information, but they do not release that data. Reason being, because there is a huge chance of uh, privacy concerns or damage to someone's identity based on that medical record. So, with the help of the decentralized patient record management, it is possible to secure information without any personal details on the system. So that in future, if certain AI based algorithm is to be run on that patient data, that can be also run securely without involving any personal information of the person. So it could include information about any treatment approvals or any insurance claims, and that could be automated with the help of blockchain transactions. One example we can consider here, like a AI algorithm that can be used to predict patient risks, and based on that, it can automatically trigger contract clauses for certain preventive actions. Just a simple application of integration between blockchain smart contracts as well as AI algorithms. Similarly, supply chain management we can consider. Blockchain can add transparency into the system, especially for tracking goods from origin to destination while maintaining a immutable record. Like one simple example we can consider, when we are collecting supplies from farmers from the agriculture fields and taking it to the supermarkets or any of the intended markets for sale. So majority of time what happens that farmers are not able to track that how much time their crops are taking to reach to the market and what exact price they may be getting in the market, because the mediators sometimes create contradictory terms in between and they just take away some profits from the farmers also. So in this scenario, the blockchain can enhance transparency. It can help farmers to track goods from origin to destination without tampering anything about that logistic company also. So they can just have a complete track of the logistics while maintaining a immutable record of everything. AI can be further used to optimize demands as well as any kind of optimization requirements in the logistic environment. So for that also, AI can be incorporated in between. One example we can consider is like combining blockchain with AI. IBM Food Trust enhances safety of the tracing process while ensuring that there is no contamination of the sources, and it also makes automatic suggestions for the inventory adjustment depending upon what kind of food items are being transported from one place to other. So accordingly the inventory adjustments can be made, like maybe certain food items are to be taken to a cold store, so accordingly inventory at cold store can be managed. If something is to be taken to a supermarket directly, so accordingly inventory of that can be managed, so everything can be handled automatically by the system. Then financial services also we can handle with the help of it, and this is one of the core application of blockchain from past several years. It affords decentralized lending with the help of AI system, because AI can evaluate the credit worthiness of people by analyzing their previous credit scores, their history of transactions, and talking about what kind of loans they have taken earlier, how well they have managed repayments of that loan. Everything can be handled by this AI based track. It can be also used in fraud detection within the transactions over the financial networks, can be used for risk management because it helps you to integrate historical market data to forecast new trends so that the investment decisions can be automated accordingly. And it can be also used for adjusting one application we can consider like adjusting loan interest rate based on the profile of the borrower or the market conditions. So this could be a very interesting thing. Otherwise there are like very set techniques followed for the loan interest rate adjustments. There are like initially whatever you get finalized with the bank, only that you have to follow, but we can even make dynamic interest rates, so that could be sometime useful for both parties. One popular application of blockchain and AI integration you will see in IBM's Food Trust platform, where they have used blockchain for end to end transparency of your entire food supply. And then AI is being used for making some predictive analytics on crop quality, forecast of the yield for maybe seasons or entire year, and then shelf analysis of different crops or different products, different food items. So how longer it can be kept on the shelf or in the stores without decaying its actual quality. So all those things we can predict with the help of AI. It can assist in improved decision making by leading your pattern analysis on real time weather data, market data, as well as crop quality, etc. So all those things can be managed automatically while ensuring end to end transparency in the food supply chains. Similarly, in the energy sector, AI and blockchain can be utilized to trade energy between peer-to-peer energy grids. Several countries have already started testing this type of application. Like currently in our cases, what happens, we get monthly bills for electricity, and some people come to our home, they check the meter readings, and accordingly they just give you your energy bills. But this entire process can be handled with the help of blockchain and AI while maintaining transparency in the system. So there can be some smart contracts done between the energy suppliers and the end users, and there can be an automatic track of how much energy they are consuming and the pricing estimates based on the state, city, or whatever regulations we are following on different levels, like commercial regulation, residential regulation, village based, urban area based. So all those things can be updated into the centralized system with the help of smart contract, and it can assist in efficient trading and pricing management for the energy supplies. Even after so many benefits that are associated with integration of blockchain and AI, there are few challenges also that we need to talk about. The first issue we have is scalability, because both AI and blockchain, they are both resource intensive technologies. And blockchain already, as we discussed, it requires a large network of distributed computers across the world. And similarly, AI needs massive amount of data during the training process to make adequate predictions. So in this scenario, we need proper optimization techniques to make this integration a significant collaboration. So that scalability issue we always need to think about. Then interoperability is another issue, because integrating AI model with blockchain protocols is itself a big challenge, because they both are meant on different standards. So how you can just make things compatible between both protocols and algorithmic changes, so that all thing we need to keep in mind while setting up this collaboration. Privacy concerns is another thing, like blockchain is completely transparent in nature, whereas on the other side AI requires huge amount of data. So how we are managing both these things while creating a balance between both, that we do not hamper the privacy concern and we also have enough data for the training for adequate forecasting. So all those things we need to keep in mind. Cost analysis is also to be done on this point, because it requires, when we talk about resource intensive things, huge data required for processing, then definitely computational cost will also increase. So we need to find some ways to ensure widespread adoption of this technology integration while limiting this cost factor as well. The future trends that we can discuss on this integration, as I told you, that IoT is another popular thing that we need to incorporate into the system, that can enhance the outcome in terms of smart cities, smart village applications. Then energy efficient consensus mechanism we can create, because work of proof we can create, and this can ensure transactions for the energy trading and pricing being automatically managed with the help of smart contracts. Then some decentralized AI marketplaces also we can create by utilizing different platforms that can help us to share and monetize AI based services. And we can consider about advanced smart contracts also, where we can add some dynamic features with the help of AI, as I discussed already as well. Just summarizing the session with these details, that we already highlighted the importance of blockchain and AI, their individual benefits, their individual drawbacks, everything we have discussed. So integration of both these technologies can help us to solve plenty of complex global challenges that we have in the technological sector. And this innovation basically lies in the intersection of both these powerful technologies. We need to ensure that we are taking the best part of both these technologies while keeping behind their own disadvantages, so that a precise system can be created for different kind of industries, including healthcare, finance, business, and many more. So this is all about the theoretical discussion that we could have on the topic. As I told you, that we'll be discussing a few theoretical concepts first, and then we'll be moving further to the practical implementation. So if you people are interested to do that implementation side by side, that also you can do. I can share codes in that case. Otherwise, I can share the entire code sheet later on also. I'll explain everything side by side while creating this code from the scratch, and then later on you can also execute it. So both ways it will be easier for all of you. But whatever you do, just make sure you listen to every part that I'll be describing here, because I'll write the entire code for that blockchain application over here. One by one we'll set different types of functions and blocks here, and then we'll try to see a simulation of a particular blockchain application. So I'll write here first of all, the objective that I'll be using for this particular application that I'm creating here, it will be to create a simple blockchain system that allows users to first thing deploy and interact with smart contract, and the second thing we'll add is implement the main application that we basically have, a crowdfunding application where contributors can add funds, and similarly the funds can be released when certain condition is met. So that for this crowdfunding application, I'm writing it here also, for crowdfunding application basically. So while working on this, we are basically raising funds from people, and while raising these funds, we are making sure that it is meeting few criterias specified in the smart contract. I'll not be creating like a very extensive contract. I'll just create a very basic condition over here, considering the time limitation that we have. But still, the step-by-step process for how in Python you can implement this kind of simulation, that we will learn over here. So in the very first step, what I'll do here is I'll be setting up a blockchain, just a few basic codes I'll be inserting here. This will be step 1 in the process. So for this, the very important thing I need is few libraries. First of all, I need hash library, because we have discussed in the theoretical part also that hash functions play a very important role in blockchain, because they help us to encrypt your data in a secure manner so that it cannot be accessed by, or it cannot be read specifically with any personal information on the network. So that hash library we need. And on Python platform, there are different types of cryptographic hash functions available. In our case, we'll be using a SHA-256 cryptographic hash function. There are many others also. Just one example I'll be using further, that also helps you to create a 256-bit hash value, basically 260-bit hash value for the transaction or the data that we are entering into the blockchain, so that that particular fingerprint or that particular input data can be stored securely. Then next library I'm inserting here is JSON library, just to save my data or my block. I'll be using a JSON format in between. And then further, I'll be using time function from the time module, so that I have incorporated here, because when a block will be inserted into the system, the time for that will be secured within the blockchain platform. So for that, time tracking is required. So this I have added over here. After importing all the relevant set of libraries and functions, now the next part I'll be doing here is I'll be creating a blockchain class in which I'll pass different types of functions, different types of actions that can be permitted within that blockchain environment. So for this, I'll add here a class blockchain that I have permitted here. If anyone is planning to execute side by side, they can let me know in the chat box also. But because I'll be creating so many functions here, and they will be all called just by the end, so you will not be able to execute it in between. If you try to write, you will not be able to execute anything in between and see the outcome of that. In maybe some other application in my session in future, you will be able to execute side by side things, because there may be some different types of data set involved. But currently we are creating a blockchain based network, so it will be just based on some activities entered into the class that I'll be calling by the end. So side by side execution will not be possible maybe for all of you, but if anyone still wants to execute side by side, they can let me know. Just ping in chat box anytime. I can share code side by side in that case. Otherwise, by the end, the entire file I'll be sharing with the coordinators and they will be providing it to you. So class blockchain I have created first of all, and then I'll be inserting the constructor or the initializer associated to this class. This constructor will help us to automatically call different types of instances within the class, or different types of activities that we want to conduct within this class. They can be called easily with the help of this self constructor. Now I'll be associating different things. First, with this self constructor, I'll be creating a chain, and I'm creating a empty list for this, because we discussed in the theory also, blockchain is basically a list of blocks. So those list of blocks will be storing in this simulated environment within a list variable. So I'm creating a list, empty list first of all here. Then second thing I'll be doing here is I'll be creating another list for current transactions. This will be the temporary storage for the transactions that will be added in the block later on. Because in one block, there may be multiple transactions. It is not like only one transaction will be saved in a block. So the current transactions of a particular block will be saved within this second declaration that I'm making here. Then moving forward, I'm creating a block here. Create a block. And while creating a block, there are few essential details that we need to pass. We call them genesis blocks basically. And within that, one thing we pass is previous hash we need to pass. For that, I'm passing value 1 over here. And then a proof of value 100 I'm passing over here. What it is doing basically, with previous hash value equal to 1, we are just creating a placeholder value for the previous block, or the hash of the previous block. And if there is no block before, like if the first transaction is being executed, then in that case it will automatically take a constant 1 in that case. And in future, if the blocks are being updated and if the existing block is being used in the transaction, then in that case the hash value of that block will be taken automatically. But just for the first block, we are creating a previous hash of 1. That is just a genesis block we are creating, because there is no existing block in the blockchain initially. So after passing these block details, I'll be creating one more operation further. I'll be defining now this create block function, this one, that how it will be working when it will be called within the blockchain network. So within this create block, I'll add the constructor, then the proof that is required by it, this one, and then one more thing we need is previous hash. the elements that are required by this create block function that I'm passing over here. And what actions we have to do within this, like when we have to create a block. So what should be inserted in that block? That information we'll be creating further. So this block will be containing, I'm creating a dictionary structure. If you see the curly brackets over here, this block I'm creating in a dictionary structure. This is just a simulation we are creating. The actual blockchain network will be very extensive. This is just a simple simulation we are creating. The very first thing, we need to add the index value of the transaction that we are updating. So in the chain, we'll find out the initial index value and add 1 in that, because whenever a block will be updated, so within the initial index value, it will add one more value. So when it is the first block, in 0, it will add 1 automatically, because in that case, the length will be 0 by default. So that will be first block will be placed at the first index value automatically. Then second thing, the timestamp I'll be adding here, and the time parameter I'm passing, it will be automatically calculated. The timestamp will be automatically taken with the help of time function that I'm calling here, and I have already imported it from the time module. So it will just take the current time from here. And note that currently I'm implementing it on Google servers. So it is not essential that it will be taking time from my system. It will be taking time from the Google server, and we don't know where that server may be located, which is allocated to us right now. So it may be taking time from anywhere randomly at the time. But later on, when a real blockchain application is established, that will be based on the network structure of the blockchain only. Then after this, the next element I'm inserting is transaction into the dictionary. I'll be calling them transactions because there will be multiple transactions into the system, and that will incorporate all the current transactions. And these current transactions will be updating further also in the form of a specific function as well. So these current transactions I have updated. After this, one more element we need is proof of transactions. So index value, then at what time transaction happened, what was the current transaction that, and then proof of that transaction. So that proof we are be updating. This proof initially we have given here as 100. Later on we'll be updating it. For that we'll be adding more functions below. Then previous hash I'll be passing. So either it will take the previous hash as defined earlier, or it will create it with the help of a hash function within the chain, and that will be incorporated to the last indexed block. -1 helps you to find the last entry in your list. So it will calculate hash value based on the last block in the chain, and accordingly the previous hash value will be updated in the system. So this creates one dictionary that we need to update information about the block. And as soon as this information is updated, we can add here details about the current transaction updates. It will be emptied once the block is ready. So we will reset current transaction variable, because as soon as this block is ready, after that again a new transaction status will be created for the next block. So first we'll have to empty the previous transaction, this current transaction list. Then second thing we'll do is in chain we will append this particular block. Whatever block is created recently from here, that will be appended into the chain. This is how blockchain works. Blocks will be added in the chain. So once a block is created, that is appended into the chain. Earlier, this chain is empty. So first block will be added, and accordingly, depending upon how many transactions are being done, new blocks will be updated in the system. Then we'll be returning a block from this. So this will be the functionality of this entire system. And I'll be just keeping it at relevant place over here. This will be at the level of block. So I'll take it to this level. Then it becomes part of the function create block that we have added already. After this, I'll add one more block here in the sequence. That will be again with the help of defining a function that is add transaction function. Inside this constructor, I'm passing first of all, then sender, recipient information we need to pass, and then amount, because we are talking about a crowdfunding application right now. So there will be a sender, there will be a recipient, and there will be certain amount that will be part of transaction. So that information we are updating here now. So the current transactions I'm updating, and I'm updating or appending information into this with the help of a dictionary element that I'll be inserting here. And that includes information about the sender. Second thing, as I told you, recipient. And then third thing is amount. The names of these senders, recipients, and amount will be updated at the time of real transaction. So that will be updated below when we'll be calling these functions further. So this add transaction we have updated here. These three elements will be taken from the function source automatically. And this will help us to return self last block, because the transaction will automatically turn out into the last block. So that will form here, and the index value of that last block will be 1 plus the existing index. So this index entry is being updated based on the latest transaction that is happening on the network. So that part I have updated over here. After this, I'll be using some static methods over here. So this static method is a kind of decorator we have in Python that helps us to define a static method within a class. And they essentially work like some utility functions that are grouped within a class, and they mainly work for the organizational purpose, not like we are not calling a specific function or instance every time, but like in an organized form we are creating utility functions and we can use them whenever required. So this static method I'll be adding here, and then I'll be updating here the hash block. This will take block, because hashing we have to do on the block. So once the block is created, we'll hash it. And in order to hash it, what we'll do is there will be a block string outcome. We'll create a JSON and we'll dump into the
पापा
JSON
एक बार कुछ देखना है
block. Within this, we will sort keys and we'll make it true, because we need encrypted block. And for this, I'll pass here the encoded process. So it will result a string version of the block that will have the hash values, or not the real transaction information, but the encoded version of the transaction as a hash return. So it will give you the hashlib dot 256 encryption that I told you, SHA-256 encryption we have discussed right in the beginning. And the block string will be passed into this, and it will return things in the hex digest function. So hexadecimal coding basically it is doing by the end, and those hash values will be returned by the function directly. Then I'll be adding one more decorator over here, that will be property decorator. And within this, I'm passing the next element, that is last block, again connecting it to the constructor of the main class, and then returning self dot chain. So the position of last block will always be last in the chain. So that I have updated over here. Index we have already updated on the top. Here we have updated the index of the last transaction. Now the position of the last block also we have updated over here. Then one more thing I'll need is proof of work. This is important in blockchain. So proof of work will create here. Last proof as a basic element will create here, and based on that the new proofs will be updated. If there is any existing proof of the transaction, that will be validated from there. Otherwise, if it is a new transaction, accordingly a new proof will be created for that. So valid proof based on the last proof, or if a completely new proof is to be created, that will be updated in the system. Then we are updating the list of proofs also accordingly based on the transactions that are happening on the network. So here I'm returning the proof. This proof will help us to satisfy the condition whenever certain transaction is happening on the crowdfunding application. So if it is a valid transaction, then accordingly that will be handled with the help of the proof of work. If it is invalid transactions, accordingly a query may be generated in the network. Then I'm adding one more decorator here with static method, and within this I'll pass one more this valid proof. Last block, proof of work, we have already added. Now the valid proof that I have used here, how we'll be validating this proof basically that we are passing here. These functions are basically connected with each other. That is why I was telling you that you will not be able to execute them side by side. And even if we have any error in this coding process, that will be also evaluated by the end only when we'll be calling these functions. So they are just connected with each other. So we are passing the last proof here, then whatever proof value we are creating, and then we are just encoding it. After this, the hash sequence I'm creating, the same that I have created here. So I can call this one. And I'll just pass it, but this time it will be passed to the guess because valid proof will be tested against this now. After this, we'll pass the return. Based on how much hash proofs digits we want to permit in the system. So accordingly, this 4-digit hash proof we have permitted it to create. So initially it starts with 0000, and then further it will be updated with new values. So initial value, the 4 digits we have passed over here. So this is the first part. We have created the blockchain setup, whatever is required. Like initially, the blockchain class we have created, then relevant functions within relevant actions that are required within the blockchain that we have created, then different function setups we created to create a block, first of all, to add transaction into the system, then for the hashing purpose, then to create entries of the last block, then proof of work to ensure validity of everything, and then ultimately how we validate the proofs within the system. That part also we have updated. So I'll just run this part and we will save it in the system. In the meanwhile, I'll move to the second step. Now we will set up smart contract for the crowdfunding application. First, we have set up the blockchain environment by using all these functions. Now we want to set your smart contract for crowdfunding. So here we have to pass all the conditions, like information about organizer who has set the fundraising goal, or what kind of terms they have decided for the contributors, how much amount is to be raised with the help of crowdfunding application, or if that amount is met, what we have to do, whether we have to accept contributions after that or we have to stop at that goal amount only. So all those conditions now we have to mention in the smart contract. So as I told you, I'll be creating just few basic conditions only for smart contract over here. First, I'll be creating a crowdfunding contract class over here, and within this I'll initialize the blockchain with self constructor, as well as we need one more thing, that will be the goal amount. So these three things are mainly these two. Constructor is just the part of your class, and blockchain and goal amount, these two things are the main elements of my crowdfunding contract over here. If you had other parameters also, accordingly you can update them. So after getting this, the first thing is to call my blockchain setup that I have already created. So I'll just pass it here into the variable. So we'll just link the contract with the blockchain instance by using this setup. So blockchain instance we have already created in the previous section. So from there we'll be calling it. Then second thing is the goal amount, and we'll connect it with another variable named goal amount here. Then I'll be passing here the contributors within a dictionary, because there will be some information about the contributors that I can store within the dictionary, like maybe the identity of the contributor, how much amount they have given, or whatever you want to put in the crowdfunding contract, that information within the dictionary we can add. Then we'll add here total contributed, because this variable will need to identify whether the goal amount is met or not. So initially I'm setting it to 0, because initial contribution will be 0. Then we'll add it further within our activities. And then I'm putting here one variable active. So initially it is true. It will indicate when the campaign is accepting payments or the funds. As soon as the goal amount is reached, then this will be turned to false, so that the campaign or the crowdfunding contract stop accepting any kind of payments after this deadline is met. So this we have updated, and then I'll be moving to the next function. So here I'm passing a contribute function, within which we need the contributor information and amount. If you are requiring any other information also, that you can do. Now in this case, within the contribute function, in case if the campaign is not active, in that case it should directly return fundraising is closed, because it will allow us to ensure that no payments are taken once the goal is met or when the campaign is inactive, so that any frauds can be avoided within the system. Or sometime what may happen, like 2-3 parties are involved in campaign and they have met certain amount and they have withdrawn everything from the system, but if the application is not closed from the backend, maybe some people will donate after that also, and that amount will be misused later on. So here first thing we are adding is, if the crowdfunding event is not active, then automatically it should return fundraising is closed, and it should not accept any contribution in that case. However, in other cases, what it will do is it will directly start adding transactions to the blockchain based on whatever the contributors are doing on the network. So I'm just adding some simulating parameters over here, like contributors pool I have added. Later on, you will have this in the real blockchain environment. You may have different variables in this. I'm just creating a contributor pool over here for the crowdfunding application. So all the contributors will be managed within it. Then the contributors I'm creating, and for this I'm passing here the contributor list that I have created in the previous instance also, where we have just gathered details about how the contributions will be made in the network. So that only I have connected over here, and within this I'll be passing self dot contributions dot get, and here I'll be writing contributor 0, because initially it will start with the 0 entry, and then the amount will be updated further. So this contributor I may have failed to initialize somewhere. Let me just check. This I'll be making contributions, and here also this should be contributor, then this will be fine. Here also it has to be contributor, so then I can resolve the errors. After this, the total amount will be setting up, and it will be based on the amount raised, because we are just every time updating that amount. Initially it was 0, the amount that we have set up initially, that is 0, and then as soon as people started contributing, this 0 will be updated with the amount given by the people. So every time a transaction is done, that contribution amount is updated into the total contributed amount. After this, I'm updating one more condition. Total contributed is greater than is equal to self goal amount, because right now we are in the contribute function and we are allowing a contribution in case if the active is false, means if the fundraising is in the active mode at the time. But during these contributions, as soon as the goal amount is met, so then also it should stop accepting. So that is why I'm adding here one more additional element, that is release funds. So as soon as the goal amount is met, then the funds should be released to the specific account wherever we have decided initially within the smart contract. So I'm just putting a reference information here for the simulation purpose only. It will include information about the contributors. This will be just using for the display purpose. And then the total amount also will pass here. So it will be total contributed amount. So this thing we are basically returning. So it will be printed based on the requirement. So all the informations about the contributors as well as the total amount that is set. Once the amount is as per the goal amount set initially. Moving forward, I'll pass here one more function, that is to release funds. I have called this function over here, so I need to create it also. Again, connecting it to the main class. So when we will be releasing funds, so for that also the condition I'll have to pass. Initially, we discussed this part in the theory part also, that smart contract is all about the conditions that we pass in the agreement. So those conditions only we are testing every time in different set of functions over here. So as soon as this is greater than the goal amount, the active should be turned false. I told you that initially it is true. But as soon as this contributed amount goes above, it should be turned into the false. And in the meanwhile, this blockchain add transaction function that we have already created, it will be passing information about contributing your crowdfunding pool. information about organizer, and then total amount of contributed budget. So this information, it will be updating in the transaction. So what kind of crowdfunding pool we have created, who is the organizer, and how much fund is updated, that will be made a part of the blockchain. As I told you that it will not require any personal information in between, that we will use just for the display purpose further. But in the blockchain, just the information about the amount will be added for the specific crowdfunding application. And then we are just returning funds released to organizer. So as soon as this fund release function is called, the funds will be released and this information will be printed here. And then this function will return goal not reached yet. In case if this condition is not met, then it will return goal not reached yet. So both conditions we have passed in between. In case if goal met, then it will release funds. Otherwise, it will say goals not reached yet, because this release funds function will be tested by the system time and again. So if it finds this in the outcome, then it will keep on accepting funds. Otherwise, if it finds this in the output, it will stop taking contributions after that. So after this, I'll be putting status function to ensure if everything is fine. This is just for the display purpose. As we discussed earlier, that blockchain is not going to store your personal information, but this I'm creating just for our display purpose, so that we can just see what is happening behind, for the simulation purpose only. Then total contributions that people are making, so that also I'll be updating here. Then contributors information also I'll be taking. And last one, the status of the crowdfunding, that will be taken from self-active instance. So all these relevant instances I have passed here. Whenever this get status function will be called, it has to display all these things in this particular pattern only. So I'll just run this part also. This should be fine as well. If we have any error, it will be seen only after deploying the application. So then I can correct it later on. So now I'm just deploying the application here. In order to deploy this, first of all, I need to set up my blockchain. I'm just initializing blockchain function over here, that is by default available in Python environment. So initialize blockchain function. After this, I'm creating crowdfunding contract with a goal of maybe 500. You can set any amount. I'm just passing a simple 500 rupees amount over here. So the contract we are updating based on this. So I'm passing here crowdfunding contract that we initially created. And within this, I'll just initialize my blockchain and then goal amount, that is 500. We have created this thing earlier and we passed these details only. You can see here I have created it, and I told you that there are two elements of this blockchain that we have initialized. That will be the main function working behind to give it a demonstration like blockchain, and the amount that we have passed is 500 over here. After this, we will pass contributors. We'll just simulate contributors into the crowdfunding campaign. So I'll just print information side by side. First contract, I'm using here the contribute function from that. Maybe first person contributed like maybe 200. Then I'll add one more here, this one, and I'll just change name of the person maybe to Bob, and I'll make it 150, and I'll just add one more transaction, that is one more name, and here the value I'll again pass 200, for example. So we need to meet 500. But when observe here that when people are contributing in this format, if it goes above 500, still it will be accepted because that amount is coming in this single transaction. Like up to this it is 350, then it needs 150 only, but the transaction is 200. So within this transaction it will accept amount and it will show total amount as 550. But after that, if someone tries to contribute, that will be rejected. And also, if the amount is like 490 is match but 10 is still left and someone contributes 100, it will accept that. But after that, if it will check the condition again, it will reject that amount. Reason being, because the conditions we have created like this. I have created a condition of equal to greater than. Later on, you can refine your smart contract accordingly. Like if you want to choose any nearby value, that also you can accept. I told you earlier that I'll be creating just a simple condition over here. So that only I have passed with 3 contributors over here. And then I'll be just passing this information. I'll just dump the JSON file. And within this JSON file, we'll keep information about all the contributors that we have in the list. So for this, I'll pass here contract dot get status, because that will be displaying side by side, and I'm passing it with intent, because if you remember, I created it in a specific intent over here like this. So instead of getting information in a single line, I'll need it in the same format. So I'm keeping intent 4 over here. Let me just run this application, just a very basic thing I have created, and if all functions are created right, this should work. Otherwise we'll get an error. Let me check the error with this. Some typo may be there. Object has no attribute contributors. Let me just go up, and here this one, let me check. This one has to be contributions. We are connecting it to the contributor and then it looks fine. I'll run this part again. Okay, one more error I have. Backchain, there is a typo again somewhere for blockchain. I'll just try to find it. This one. So this has to be blockchain, and if it is somewhere else also, that we can recognize. Now this is fine. You can see the goal amount 500, total contributed amount, then the contributions made, and then status is active false now. So because the amount is met, so the status is false. Now after this, if I try to contribute more, you can observe here, I'll write here the contract and I'll try to contribute, like maybe one more person is trying to make the donation over here and with the amount 200 maybe. So if I do this, it says, let me check, I have a typo again. It says the fundraising is closed. So we cannot accept more contributions after this. And if we add the release funds function, because we have not used that yet, that account information updated, if any, in that release function, that will be used and amount will be released to the organizer accordingly. So we can pass conditions for this. As soon as this is met, the amount should be released to such and such bank account or maybe any other account, however we are dealing it. Accordingly, that information we can pass over here. So this is a general description about how a simple blockchain smart contract application we can execute over here. But within this, now the key features initially with the blockchain that we are observing, that the chain is secured with proof of work and hash values that we have created initially within the system. And we have added a crowdfunding logic also based on the goal amount condition. I added one condition only. You can add other conditions also later on. And then we created a decentralized application where manually we need not to check when the conditions are met or how much funds are being given or who are the contributors, because you might have seen that in the blockchain part I have not added any information about the contributors. This is just in the smart contract here, and when we are integrating them, it depends on how we have programmed the smart contract and how we are resolving the personal information of the contributors. So that can be deployed as per requirement. And then for the further extensions, how we can consider contribution of AI into this system. Like once you are creating this kind of application, there are so many ideas for the AI for the integration here. Like one first example I can consider is like predictive analysis we can do, where the future contributions based on past data can be made. For example, like this, several people are contributing to your crowd funds. Maybe you have created 10, 20, or 100 crowdfunding uh, platforms earlier, and then you have just gathered data about how people keep on contributing or what are the tendencies of making transactions over this. So based on this, maybe you can make some predictive analytics, like train a machine learning model to predict like which contributors are likely to increase their donations based on certain patterns, amount, time intervals, etc. You can consider it. And for this, maybe a regression model also we can put up to forecast future contributions from the people on certain topic as well. Like if crowdfunding is for certain medical application, then how we get funding amount. If it is for certain business startup, then how are the likelihood of getting contributions in that. So that entire trend we can analyze with the help of machine learning model. Then one more thing we can do is we can set up a recommendation system for the contributors. Like if someone is interested to take part in these kind of crowdfunding campaigns time and again, many rich people prefer to do that. So we can create personalized campaign recommendation systems for them based on their interest. Maybe some contributors are more interested to support startups, so we can create a recommendation system for them. Whenever a crowdfunding platform is raised for the startups, they will get a notification on their emails or maybe on their mobiles that such and such company is looking forward for the contribution, so they can make accordingly. Similarly, we can use it for the fraud detection also. Like there may be certain kind of anomalies during the transaction patterns, maybe some unusually large amount are coming, or some strange timestamps are coming, or maybe some robot based transactions are happening behind. So in order to track all those things, we can use maybe neural network or isolation forest, etc., to identify any kind of anomalies, and we can suggest or recommend new things based on that. We have also discussed about natural language processing for blockchain application earlier. That is also a subdomain of AI itself. So maybe if you want to create a like personalized message for the contributors whenever they contribute something, like if they are submitting certain fund to your campaign, you can send a personalized message to maybe their emails or whatever contact information you are using for interacting with them. So that we can do with the help of NLP integration into the system. So a thank you message can be sent to the contributors based on how much amount they have given. Then we can even do categorization of the contributors based on the predefined data, whether they certain set of contributors are more concerned about education category, healthcare category, or environment category. So based on that, maybe some classification algorithms we can train, and accordingly some recommendations can be designed. It is also possible to do sentiment analysis based on this, like how contributors find certain kind of campaigns good or bad, if they are satisfied with their contribution in that or not. So that kind of NLP based analysis we can do based on their satisfaction rating for certain kind of campaigns that are run under the smart contract environment. It could also lead to dynamic contribution suggestions also. That is another application, like based on a certain crowdfunding campaign, if some people have made contributions already but you are on the deadline and you are not getting more contributions, so maybe some personalized notifications can be sent to those people, suggesting that if they can contribute maybe $100 or $200 more, so you can meet your crowdfunding budget range accordingly. So that suggestions or maybe recommendations we can make based on the AI integrations over here. So these are just some ideas that you can utilize further for creating any of your research projects in future, or maybe any kind of uh, industrial project or any other applications as per your requirement. I'll stop here right now, and if we have any kind of discussions or anything to discuss about the topic, please let me know. The proof variable someone has asked in between, this is to ensure for the validity of transactions, like when multiple blocks are integrated into the system and maybe like 100 transactions are being done in one day, and if sometime in future certain transaction is to be edited by the user, or maybe some changes are to be made, so the proof of that validity is to be done based on the existing block. So that proof function helps in that, because everything is saved in the hash values. So that proof variable will ensure that every change or every new transaction is linked to the prior transaction accordingly based on its validity proof. Let me know if we have any other queries, feedbacks, or discussions. The house is open for all of you. You can put it in the chat box also, or you can turn on your mic as well. Any feedbacks or queries? I hope the session was useful for all of you. In today's sessions, you people were not able to implement side by side because it was all based on the deployment of that simulation environment. But in my future sessions, all of you are required to sit with your laptop so that you can do at least the implementation part side by side. I'll be sharing codes and you can do it side by side with me so that you can understand the entire process. That is a better way to learn the practical part. So I think we don't have any further queries. Thank you very much for those who are updating feedbacks in the chat box. If we don't have any further queries, then probably we can wind up the session.
There is no query, I think, ma'am. Thank you very much for this session.
Thank you very much, sir.
We will meet tomorrow, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.